So, parents episode, and I thought it'd be a good idea to talk to some parents and see what they've taken away from karate. And you have a daughter in karate.
Yep, she's 9 years old. She's been doing it since she was 4.
Okay, so a lot of the questions that come through, especially from a partner who doesn't know her so well, will be hard to answer because I guess from 4 to 9,
It's a lot.
it's a lot, and it's not clear. It might not be clear what things karate has added or taken away because it's integral.
It's really just a part of her now because it's like learning to walk for her. She did it so young that she just. It's so easy to her because I tried to spar and she makes it look easy. So when I would try to do it, then I was like, oh my god, it's so hard to think about how am I gonna do this and what if you do something else? And she just makes it look like walking. It's so cool.
Right. And so why did you get her into it at 4 years old?
I really just wanted her to have like some self-defense because being a girl, being a woman, it's just kind of and being anyone, it's hard out there. But being a girl in the world is kind of tough. So I thought self-defense was really what we were going for, and it was just the basic 2 days a week classes. And then she started sparring, and she fell in love. She probably did like just regular classes for maybe a year, and then Coach Brackett was like, "You should, have her spar like one night." And she was so small, and she put all the gear on and stuff like that, and she got hit and fell over and cried, and then she was like, "No, let me go back." And I mean, the rest is history. It's awesome.
It's super interesting, like the difference between a kid that's like, let me do that, and someone who you enroll for other reasons might lead to a different kind of person in karate.
Probably. Yeah.
Because I look at her and I've seen her at like tournaments, and she's kind of like watching and cheering, and I'm thinking there's a natural cheerleader, maybe.
Yep.
And so having a daughter in karate that didn't ask to be there interests me personally.
Yeah. I don't know, it's just, she just really likes it. And I was, afraid because as they hit 8 and 9 years old, they want to try other things. And she does. I mean, she did dance for a little bit, and she wants to learn how to play guitar now, but it's never, I want to stop karate and do something else. It's always, how can I work this into because we're here 4 days a week, for hours a day. It's never, it's so ingrained in her. It's a part of who she is. And like you said, she's always on the sideline. She cheers for her friends, her coach, everyone. It's just.
Right. I like that because I wanted, when we had the team last year, I thought I could be on the sidelines and cheer for teammates. And I walked through the door and they're just like, go over there and judge.
Yeah, no, we're not. That's not happening here. I always say we're the loudest in the room. You can always hear us.
So I had more notes, and they're on my camera. What other questions?
So we've got about how she started, and then you have said, but do you think having a daughter in karate makes you see things differently? And I don't know how you meant that question, but I took that as because she's a female in a male-dominated industry, and she really is. When you look at, when we're sparring, she has girls in her divisions, but when she's here, she's one of the older girls. We used to have other older girls that have graduated and gone off, so it's a male-dominated sport. I think sometimes she feels pressure because of that, like she has to perform better because the boys are better by default, but she really doesn't. She never sees that. She never sees like a gender class, if that makes sense. Like she just, because maybe she fights the boys so much that she just doesn't care. She's just gonna fight them.
I get a feel that maybe some schools that tone can be set differently. They come off as more girls, and
there's so many of them.
And I've seen like forms competitors maybe from a school where they were sort of reached that critical mass, where the vibe is very different.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, girls and boys are different. They are, and I think she gets that, but she doesn't run from that. We were at a tournament once, and there was one girl in her division, and so she fought them and won. And then she because I don't have to speak for her, she went over to the promoter and was like, "Hey, can you put me in the boys division so I can fight?" And he said no. And she was really upset by that because he was like, "No, these are the boys." But they're 9 and 10 years old. I mean, is it really?
Right.
At that age, is it that big? I can see when they're teenagers.
It's nonsense.
But at 9 and 10, and
I mean,
she looks
no offense to anyone who's actively doing that.
Right. But it was just, she was just like, because Brackett would be like,
right.
whatever you want to do, like, it's fine, however you want to fight, just fight. And she was like, well, they said no. And I was like, well, I was like, my boys were scared. But it happens.
It's frustrating because, like, you don't know if division size, you don't get the value sometimes. And there's a lot of network effects. If you want to take your career further, you don't have the sort of one-on-one associations that you get from competing.
Exactly. You had also said anything that you want to discuss, and I just put consistency and belt ranks. I think it's really good to be able to cross-train and experience other places, other styles of fighting, but I really think it's important to have your home team, because that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's our family. So, like, at the end of the day, this is where she wants to be. It's where I want to be. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine.
I drive.
You drive for work, like Greensboro or Green. Yeah, it's so far, and we used to drive for almost an hour. But for me, and I'll tell anybody who walks in these doors, they are worth it. Coach Brackett and Coach Matthew are just so above and beyond.
Absolutely.
And you see it. And I was just talking to a new mom today about it, and she was like, he knew my kid's name before he was on vacation when they enrolled. And she's like, he came back from vacation, he'd never met us, and he knew their name. Mm-hmm. And for me, I just think, you don't get that. And not only does he know the kids' names, he knows my name, my husband's name, he knows my parents, he knows everybody's everything. And I just, where do you find that at? Like, at so many other schools, they're too big, they're too commercialized, and you don't get that family effect or nature, I guess.
The community vibe here is so strong.
And it is, and it's important. And when she's having a bad day, a lot of times she'll say, can I call Coach Brackett? Because it takes a village to raise kids, and it's hard. It's so hard raising kids and stuff. And she'll come in here and she'll sit and talk with them because something happened that she's upset about. And that's at 9 years old.
Yeah,
I didn't do that with adults like my parents, but to have another sounding board that's, he doesn't have kids, so it's he gives different answers than I would give. And I'll be like, oh wow, I'm glad that you said that, because I wouldn't have even thought of the way you see that, as a
just any third party who is mentally engaged, like
yes. And he's been her coach since day one. The first day we stepped on a mat, he was there. And actually, we went to the wrong school. I called us up like a free tryout, and I called the wrong place. When I showed up, they were like, of course, they're like, yeah, come on and try it out. And it's inseparable since then. And I couldn't. And I see these people who they jump around and they find a school and then they disagree with what they do and they leave. And I don't know what that teaches your child. I don't think you can have it your way all the time. Because they fight too. You're not always right. We're not always right. And I just think you have to talk it out and stick it out. And then the same thing with the belts. I know a lot of schools just, here, you can have this. The way he makes them test is brutal. You've seen it, you've been here. It's a brutal test, even just for the younger kids. But I think it's important, because eventually when you're a black belt, do you want to be a real black belt or like a pretend black belt?
She did definitely get the rough end of that belt test. She was in pain.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard to watch, because you don't want to see your kids struggle. And he prepares them, the classes, the tournaments, you're prepared for it, but it's brutal, it's hot, they're thirsty, you can't, you can maybe get a sip of water if he lets you, but it's hard to watch. And I usually spend most of my time on this side of the glass, because I don't want to distract them, just do your thing, and I'm over here, but I'm cheering you on, you're doing great. And I remember at the belt test, she was one of the last kids on the sparring line, and I could just see her just really struggling. And I went to the door so she could hear me, you're doing it. When I got to the door, I could hear her sobbing, but I didn't know because of the glass, and I was just
I had no idea that you weren't. I didn't look up to see where you were.
Yeah.
You were behind the glass.
I was behind the glass.
I had her when she was doing the squats, counting them, and she was really struggling.
Yeah. So, and it's there's more. Like every test, there's just more. And she does push-ups every day at home. She practices, but 50, 75, I can't do that. Might be able to do 10. That's a lot. And she does her best, but it's hard. When I came out on the door and I heard her just sobbing, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But she did it.
It hurt to count them out.
Yeah, and I was like, you're doing so good. And it's hard, but she got a belt. And the next test will be harder. I prefer the test to be, I think that was December when he did that test? Or like maybe like right before Thanksgiving or something like that.
Maybe before Thanksgiving?
I prefer those tests because the test that he'll have in the summer with the big doors open and the heat, brutal. I don't like the heat. It's a little much to be sparring.
We kept it hot because everyone was always trying to lose weight. So we were like sweating.
And like put the big jackets and stuff on so you really get the good sweat.
You did that in the summer?
Yeah, no thanks, not for me.
Okay. So I think community for you, because there's a collection of parents here who've been here for a while. And
yep. We pretty much opened it. We came with him when he opened it, and we traveled. We just did New Orleans together and crushed it. And it wasn't even just the tournament. I mean, the tournament was great. That's always fun. We all won everyone's divisions. Like that's so rare. That doesn't happen. And it was just, but being able to experience a new city and walk around with their friends and watch the kids eat.
I definitely want to make one trip this year somewhere.
You've got to.
I
just
will.
Gotta come with us. We had the best time, and they ate. The kids had crawfish and beignets.
I saw the pics.
And catfish and all kinds of things. And it's not just the traveling and the tournament. Like, yes, that's important too, obviously, but being able to just experience it. That's your family. Like, it's so fun. It's so cool. And we homeschool too, so it's like all these little field trips and all this cool stuff that we wouldn't get to do if we didn't have this experience. I know travel ball is a thing like baseball and people travel for other sports, but I don't know, I think karate is such an individual sport. There's not 37 of us on a bus traveling. It's just like this really small knit group that's staying and representing our little town and our school. And
that's one thing I like about karate. I like the individual competition. I don't really watch sports, but when I did, a little tennis and a little boxing, because it was the same dynamic, and just I never team sports. I just didn't get them.
Well, I don't either. And like having all the pressure of the whole team, like if I make a mistake, we all lose.
I would show up to Little League baseball games, and one time I literally heard them sigh.
That's awful. Yeah, see, that's why I like karate, because if she loses, she loses 2 times. But if she loses, and it's on her. And only she can go back to the drawing board and see where she went wrong. It doesn't, her wins and losses doesn't. I mean, I guess it's her coach, but at the end of the day, all he can do is talk her through it, and she has to put the effort in. I think I don't know. I don't like team sports either. But go Patriots, just in case.
Right. Okay. I feel. Let me check the time.
I think one thing I really like to talk about is her confidence. At 9 years old, I'm very extroverted, but I'm like an extroverted introvert. But
yes, said exactly that to me. He's like, you're the most extroverted of them.
Yeah, I love to chat and all the things, but at 9 years old, I just wouldn't. And this girl will go up to a center, up to a judge, up to a stranger, and be able to speak really well for herself. If she has an issue, she had an issue here a couple months ago with like a 13-year-old kid, like something was said, it was a whole misunderstanding, but she never even came to me until after, but she was like, I went up to so-and-so, and I was like, we have a problem, we're gonna handle it right now. And I just think at 9 years old, like she has more confidence in herself than I could ever have imagined. And I don't know if it's because of karate, because like I said, it's been her whole life, but it just makes me really proud. And like she'll go up to her center, she can, hey, what ring, what's this, what's happening, how come you did, what can I do differently? When she used to do forms and weapons, and she could go and ask them, what didn't you like, why didn't I win, what can you critique me, and take it, be able to take that, well, you did this, and if it's negative, she'd be like, all right, cool, now I know for next time. And I just think at 9 years old, that's so rare. And like, people are sensitive, and that's okay, but at 9 years old, like, I think it's really easy to get your feelings hurt, right? So for an adult to be like, well, you just did this and it wasn't good, I feel like I would shatter. Where she's just like, okay, cool, thanks, see you next time, and learn from it. I think that's pretty awesome. Everyone always asks me if it's for the discipline. I've never had a discipline issue with her. She's always been well behaved, so that's not, because that was, and I think one of like CW's questions.
I took that to be a question around like the discipline of
I think it helps.
Showing up and doing the thing, you know, just.
Yep, I put that in here. I put that she has to understand you have to do the hard stuff to do the fun stuff. Like, she knows that she is gonna train, you know, 4 days a week, 3 to 5 hours a day, because on Saturday we're gonna travel and go to a tournament. And if you don't put the work in, you can't do the fun stuff. Just like when you're home, you have to do your schoolwork, you have to do your chores, then you can do your fun stuff. But you have to do, because I mean, she, you know, she's nice. So like someday she's like, God, I have to go to karate. Like today I'm really tired. And I'll be like, yeah, we have to go to karate because we're traveling. You know, we've gotta put the work in. And she'll go. But you know, again, like such a kid. But it's
yeah,
rare.
I didn't realize she was here so long every day recently. Because I know by the end of the day, I try to get her to fight, and
She's tired.
And she doesn't always acknowledge points. But by the time I get her moving forward, I don't even want to stop her to acknowledge points. She's moving.
Just goes. Yeah, it's a long day. I mean, her days start some days at 5 a.m. She comes to the gym with me sometimes in the morning. But it's so ingrained in her. I think at this point that it's just like a part of who she is. CW also put about what advice would you give other parents considering enrolling? And I had said, just like Hub City does, the free trial. So if you bring your kid, you literally have nothing to lose.
Just do
it's
that.
It's free. That's all you have to do, because I promise once they get here, they're not gonna want to not come back. I mean, it's just the atmosphere, the coaches, the other kids. It's so welcoming. It's inviting. And I mean, it's fun. Like, I don't like to get hit in the face, but everybody out there really loves it. They have a great time beating each other up and learning different techniques, and then, you know, using them in all the seminars and stuff like that. I think it should come in at least with a free trial. It literally could be a life-changing thing. And I think kids now, bullying is like at an all-time high.
It's interesting.
And well, when we were in school, I could see it. And even here, I mean, the kids, you know, they kind of, you know, roast each other, but I think like a little bullying's all right, but not too much.
The principal in middle school called all of my bullies to the office and said, if you get caught calling me a certain name,
yeah,
you're immediately suspended.
See, I like that. That's mine. Because like you can do like a little, but just you can't cross the line. You can't cross the line. I mean, you don't want that. But I mean, they roast each other in there and stuff, the little kids. But just, you gotta be tough, you know. And my husband always says, like, things like this are not preparing you for the world; they're preparing you for a job. Is what he says. Like, a lot of stuff is preparing you for work. Like, if your boss has a bad day and kind of yells at you, you can't quit your job. You just kind of have to take it and be like, God, that sucked, and then get your work done. You can't go home and cry about it. You can, I guess, but you have to wait till 5 o'clock. Like, you have to just finish it out. You have to, you know, be tough. And I think that they learn that here, because the coaches are not easy on the kids, you know. And I think you gauge the kid that you can be harder on versus not. I think they're really good readers of the kids. So I mean, do I think karate's for everyone? No, but I think it's a free trial. Like, just to have them check it out, I think is definitely worth it.
Absolutely.
I think that's like all the questions that you guys had. And we talked about the community, the family. I talked about training, male, females. I think you hit it all. Do you have any other like questions?
Okay. I think we're good. Thank you so much for talking. I appreciate it. And I will see everyone next time.
Bye. That was cool. I was so nervous all day.
I love that you were so excited about doing it. All right, we start normally when I'm recording.
Yeah.
CW starts it off, so I just hand it off to him and he says the right thing.
Okay, I got it.
Start. Parents episode, parent number 2, Jesse Taylor. His son, Hayden, is in karate. Can we say his name?
Hayden Taylor, yeah.
Okay. Some people are different. And I just wanted to ask some questions. It's like he started young.
Yeah, he started young, probably about 5 years ago now. So he's just turned 10. So probably around he was 5, he started really kind of, you know, messing around. And the last 3 years, we kind of took seriously and, you know, kind of got at it.
Was it his idea? Was he like 5 years old and said, I want to do that?
It was his. When we did our first competition, he just fell in love with it. You know, at first when we first started training, he was more of a BJJ kind of guy. He loved more of the jiu-jitsu and the rolling kind. And then we did a tournament. I can't remember exactly where it was, but and after that, it was all over. He just wanted to travel and fight and travel and fight.
Okay. But like on the way in, day number 1,
Yeah.
what was the thought? What got you in the door?
Well, we known Brackett before. He opened a gym, so when he came here, we was already kind of like established with him, I guess you would say. So, and he was a great guy. Helped us through a lot of difficult times with some family stuff.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, when he opened this school, we was one of the first people here to sign up.
Okay. So had you been taken previously?
Not really. It wasn't really serious. You know what I mean? It was more of like a
personally.
Yeah, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, when he was over at his SMA, we pretty much started there at the daycare, and then it kind of got into the karate.
Okay.
And then meeting him, and then Hayden liking it more and more, than taking it serious here, and
Okay.
kind of turned into this.
And you got lucky because he takes it seriously. He's
Yeah.
good at it.
Yeah.
He travels and wins,
Yeah.
and you don't know at 5
Right.
what someone might be good at.
Exactly.
You roll the dice. I had a friend his dad took him when he was 5.
Yeah.
He said the world's tough. He took him to learn chess. He's like, he asked the guy, "Is my kid a chess prodigy?" The guy was like, "No."
Yeah, I hear that. Hey, yeah.
So you got.
It's crazy. 10 years old, I was more dedicated to playing outside and stuff like that. But every single day, he wakes up, he talks about training, he talks about the whole karate world pretty much. You know what I mean, and what he's learned from it, and stuff like that. And it's really a true love for him, I believe.
Okay. Can you see, like, it's hard to see changes in someone when it's just been their life.
Yeah.
But do you see how this positively impacts other parts of his life, or is it so much of an obsession that maybe it takes away? What's the give and take?
I think it's far as I guess how to explain this. I feel like the karate world that we've been introduced to and everything is like real humble, and kept him humble. You know what I mean? And I feel like for us doing this and staying out of the way of a lot of other things, that he don't have to worry about a lot of other things, and gets to learn a lot. You know what I mean?
Okay. Great. So I don't want to go too deep here, just in case the sound is bad.
Gotcha.
And I might, if I catch you some other time,
Sure.
we might continue. But I
Yeah.
definitely wanted to get like the meat of what your thoughts here. Is there anything else you want to say that comes to mind?
Not right off. We just love being here, and
Great. All right, I'm here with Jordan Taylor, who has a student son at Hub City Martial Arts, to talk about her experience as a parent.
Yes.
And so, how did y'all? I've already asked your husband this, but I want your take. How did y'all find your way to Hub City?
We got our way to Hub City when Hayden was about 4. So in school, we had teachers suspecting that he had the ADHD. And so that's what kind of led us to venture into there. And then around 5 is when he lost 2 grandparents very suddenly, back to back. And that's when he started the sparring and jiu-jitsu, and it was able to show him how to, emotional regulations and things like that. So it was amazing. Yes.
And so that leads into some of our other questions. What
Yes.
benefits did it have in his life?
So many benefits of where it had in his life. So let me try to get to this.
Mhm.
So do I see different things from my son in karate? The benefits. I mean, his confidence level. I mean, it is just through the roof. I mean, he travels nationwide, so he has friends just everywhere. We have just such a strong community of friends that I'm able to pick for him and choose for him that have the same values and goals that we have. And that's one thing that I absolutely love. Seeing his confidence, seeing his discipline. Today at the park, as I'm sitting there going over these questions and reading them and trying to just, summary down, he has spent 20 minutes with a 3-year-old helping her navigate the entire park and every single child that walks up to him, doing everything there was. It's just the sweetest thing in the world. So, I mean,
So yeah, no, that's wild. Interrupt my train of thought. You
You're
have
fine. I
questions?
have this. So I
you
have
can-
one thing of how it impacted his discipline and focus. I mean, it absolutely instilled in Hayden a profound sense of discipline. Like through the rigorous training and the dedication, he has learned the importance of self-control and mental toughness. And it has impacted his performance in karate and life and everything that he does. When it comes to school, we actually homeschool now.
Okay.
We are able to homeschool because, I mean, don't get me wrong, but he's definitely a child and we go through that and he's learning. But, I mean, he's amazing with homeschool. We do that and it allows us to really pick and choose his friends. So.
Okay. So that seems super important to you, having like the right people in his life.
100%. I love to have, so in the karate world, starting from a young age and then traveling and stuff like that, it really has opened our eyes to a very large variety of parenting styles. So it is very important to me to have him around kids with parents that have the same values and stuff like that we instill.
Okay. So a large variety of people.
Yes.
Too, not just the specific people. Because when I picture karate, I guess I feel like I'm a bit of an outlier, maybe. And
that's the whole thing. Like, it's
right.
so many people that he's friends with when it comes to you, when it comes to, he doesn't see people differently, like, at all. So I love it. Like,
nice. So how about you? Like, there's a collection of people here that there's community and the parents.
yeah, it definitely brings you a community of support when it comes to the parents, so that you have support with your kid and stuff like that, and you have backup, the people that have the same values for you, and that definitely helps a lot.
So sometimes I wonder if your parent's child's quit karate, if I'm not gonna see them pop back up, if they're like let me join, because I miss the environment.
Yes.
What else did I ask you in the notes?
Let me see. So we have, what is karate done for Hayden? And we've definitely hit that. We hit, why did he start? Do I see things differently? Having a son in karate, and well, we talked about that. That's kind of where I see things differently when it comes to the parenting. Like, that's kind of where I allowed it to see things differently. And I guess hitting onto that too, when it comes to him traveling, I mean, he has been immersed into so many different cultures that just, it's like I said, he just sees the world as one. Like, everybody is one, and I absolutely love it.
So have you gone overseas? Have you gone outside
We
of
have
the US?
not yet. That is
Okay.
definitely a goal of his. And that's another thing. Karate has instilled such a discipline and dedication and compassion and kindness into him that it's amazing. Like, that's the only reason that I actually travel him, is because he is so dedicated. He does hold himself accountable and work towards what he wants.
And he's done very well.
Yes, he has. He's done very well. He has done very well. So
I'm trying to think, am I missing
so
anything?
much. So there's one thing of what advice you would give to other parents that I did put that. I would emphasize the transformative physical, mental, and emotional development. It goes beyond self-defense. It fosters discipline, resilience, and character building, instilling valuable life lessons that extend far beyond the gym. Like, it is absolutely amazing. Like, the life lessons that Hayden has learned here go from the gym, they go to school, they go to when we're out and he's holding the door for anybody and everybody, when he is just so kind everywhere we go. I mean, it's amazing.
Great.
So, and I do owe it a lot to karate. So,
Okay. And maybe this, specific school has, some value.
100%. Like, especially, he's been with the same coaches since he was 4, both of them, jiu-jitsu and karate. He is not, I mean, of course he is trained with other people.
Sure.
Because, like,
Sure.
he has
I
he has so
randomly
many
ran
black
into y'all.
belts.
Like, it wasn't really advertised here, but I went to a workout on Sunday. And you were
Yeah,
there,
like, and so, like, Donovan is one of his really good friends. That's where that comes from. So he communicates with kids. I mean, Donovan, of course, isn't that far. He's in Colombia. He has one really good friend in Atlanta. He's got one friend that is from Venezuela, that is Armando, lives in Florida, one of his best friends. He made friends with a boy that he fought in Atlantic City that was from Mexico City, and neither one of them could even speak each other's language, and they still were able to build such a friendship that they have still. So it's just, watching him build that is awesome.
And the people I know in other competitive endeavors I've been in, the people you compete against become your network frequently because
Yes.
you're
Yes, so it is. I mean, and that's like Donovan. They are the same age. They will compete against each other. They do, but they are still, I mean, you saw them. They are very good friends. Him and Savannah they've known each other for since the beginning of Hayden's sparring journey, I would say.
Okay.
Or competing journey. We'll say that, competition journey. So they've known each other for a few years and stuff. So that's,
Okay.
yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for talking to us. Am I
Thank
leaving
you.
anything out?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.